What's up, YouTube? Welcome back. So in this video, I want to talk about the situation that is unfolding in New York City involving a black woman who was viciously and maliciously attacked. At this point, I would almost say mauled, because this seems like something that an animal would do based on her injuries. Um, but she was attacked by a group of black men for declining an offer for one of them to pay for her alcoholic beverage. And I find that to be a little odd. Um, Not saying that it would be right the other way around, but it would make more sense if she accepted the offer and perhaps declined his advances after that. But apparently, either option, she was going to seemingly end up in a bad situation. It would only seemingly go well for her if she accepted the invitation to pay and she, I guess, gave him her number or whatnot, and was open to his flirting, advances, whatever you want to call it, right? And I'll say that, a lot of people in the community, right, a lot of people in Blackistan right now are very quiet about this. You know, black men especially. Um, Not saying that no one is speaking on it, but it doesn't seem to be as big of a story within black social media for some reason. And I think that's partially just because this situation can't really be defended, you know, at least based on the information that we have available at the moment, right? Because trust and believe, if, well, for one, like if that black woman in the liquor store, or, if she accepted his invitation to pay, his offer to pay, and she was like, nah, I'm not really looking for a boyfriend, whatever. And the same thing happened to her, then people would be using that as a reason to justify the violence that she experienced. Like, oh, you were being greedy, you were being a gold digger, you were trying to use him, so that's what happens. See, y'all gotta stop being so money hungry. Y'all gotta stop trying to use men for their money and for their resources, right? So if it happened like that, it would be a lot of victim blaming. Um, but it didn't happen quite like that, of course. And as well, if the situation was flipped around and like this, it was like a group of black women and it was like a black man, and one black woman was like, oh, can you pay for my alcoholic beverage? And he was like, no, no, thank you. And then the group of black women accosted him and attacked him. We would be talking about that. It would be like, what is wrong with those women, or what is wrong with that group of women? Why would they do something like that? That's vicious. That's malicious. That is a black woman holding a black man down, or participating in, you know, violence against a black man. People would have a lot to say. It would be a much bigger story, right? It'd be here had it hooligans. When beasties attack. Or like Beasties 1000 or 2000. Whatever. You know what some folks talk about, right? So like, here how the hooligans attack. You know, we will be talking about that. So When it's the other way around, when black women are the victims, especially when it's by a black man, folks get it real quiet. Then when we start having a conversation, it's like, not all, this is an individual situation. And to be fair, of course, not all. Of course, this is an individual situation, but this situation is unfortunately reflective of a bigger issue, which is black women and the lack of protection that they have, and an issue of black men not only not providing black women protection, but also participating in harming black women, right? And again, it's not all black men, but it's enough. It's enough that it's a problem. And it's been a problem for quite a while. And I heard people bringing up ADOS versus non-ADOS in regards to the black men who committed the assault. It don't matter. Let me just tell you that it don't matter. People are taking this at face value. And I'm not sure if the woman is ADOS or not. I'm not sure if the guys are ADOS or not. Again, it really doesn't matter. You know, and by chance, if it does matter to some of these people, the thing is, like, people brought this up when Megan the Stallion was allegedly shot by Tory Lanez. People brought this argument up too, and I'm like, okay, Tory Lanez is not ADOS. Okay, all right. Well, Megan the Stallion is ADOS. In that case, where is the outrage that a foreign man from outside the community attacked a woman from within your community? Where is the outrage? Where is the vengeance? Where is the crusade to make this man pay? Right? So it's not really a matter of ADOS versus non-ADOS. Not really, right? Not when it really matters. Well, I should say, like, this is not the ADOS versus non-ADOS. It's not going to really come up as much when in situations that involve, like, black women being victims, right? Like, folks bring that up as a way to deflect, as a way to sidestep responsibility. Most of the time, right? That seems to be when it comes up and when people want to differentiate. Then it's like, oh, he's a Pookie, he's a Ray Ray. It don't matter. It don't matter. Them being ADOS versus non-ADOS, it doesn't matter. Them being Pookies and Ray Rays versus educated lames, it don't matter. And it's not even so much of it as, it's like, it's an issue when black men perpetuate violence against black women, just in general, right? Just as is an issue in general when, men perpetuate violence against women, no matter their race, our social class, etc., right? But it's an even bigger issue when the black men who are saying that, oh, not all black men, oh, this is an individual incident, oh, it's an issue because it seems like not enough black men are willing to speak up and speak out against it. And because of that, it ends up just flying by. Folks just let it fly. If it don't apply, let it fly, right? And people just letting it go, letting it fly all around. And it's like, well, I thought you were one of the good ones, right? And the same thing when we talk about racism with, white folks and things like that. Oh, they're not racist, they're one of the good ones, etc. And that could be at least partially true, but you being a good person is also not only what you don't do, but also what you do. It's a combination of both. It's just not you not participating, right? Because there are many people who witness crimes and very violent crimes and very, you know, tragic crimes, etc. Like people who witness bad things and who are privy to it but don't do anything about it. Like, say, the situation with R. Kelly and his victims. Like, I'm pretty sure there were people who knew well and good what was going on way before Lifetime came out with the docu-series or whatever they called it. And, they are an accessory to it, to that situation with R. Kelly. And the same thing with this to an extent. It's like, yeah, you may not have participated in it, but you're also either staying silent about it, which is a cosign, or you're coming through and trying to deflect and derail the conversation about accountability. And people try to flip it around and be like, oh, you're attacking all black men. And that isn't really true. Um, Attacking a segment of black men and perhaps black men who don't speak up and speak out against this particular segment of black men. Right. And these are tough conversations to have, but we've got to have them. Because if we don't have them, start having dialogues about this situation, discussions, conversations, it's just going to continue to keep happening. Right. But these conversations, much like conversations about, say, colorism, conversations about racism involving white people, they're very difficult to have because people just get so emotional about it and start derailing the whole conversations with their emotions and just trying to find any way to avoid it. Because people start feeling guilty, people start feeling uncomfortable, people start feeling responsible. And then people start thinking about ways that, they may have participated in the situation one way or another. And also just thinking about some of the biases that they have within themselves. And I do think that overall there is a bias in the black community when it comes to black men who are victims of violent crimes and just victims in general versus black women who are victims. Seemingly, it's like we can always scrape up an excuse for black men in regards to, like, well, he may have had a criminal record like as long as the Mississippi River. He may have been extremely violent. He may have just got finished robbing a liquor store, but he deserved justice. You can't be doing that to that black king, right? And when it comes to a black woman, I'm not saying that no black woman gets advocacy, but it's like you gotta almost like fill out an application, you know, go through a background check, a thorough background check. You can't have you gotta be, you know, with a black man. You can't be you can't be swirling. Can't have a history of swirling at all. Even if it was back in the fifth grade for a week. You dated some non-black boy in the fifth grade for a week. You can't do that. All right. Also, the black guy that you with, he can't be a Pookie or a Ray Ray, right? He has to be an educated lame, right? You know, you can't have a history of doing anything that would be taken as or considered as black male bashing, right? Even if you're just coming through and just trying to hold black men accountable on some real stuff, you can't have that either. So, you know, you're gonna have to come through with some option. You don't have to come through with an application. You probably gonna have to present some references to, um, and you're kind of seeing this play out when it came to, like, Breonna Taylor versus George Floyd. People were bringing up the fact that Breonna Taylor dated like a Pookie Ray Ray drug dealer. And, to be fair, that did play a part in it. But also, I mean, George Floyd got a criminal record, a lengthy criminal record, right? And when, folks, and when folks in the community, right, in Blackistan, right, we're so quick, once we're not so quick to bring that up, you know, and use that as like, oh, well, you kind of asked for it, you kind of deserved it, And honestly, based on his criminal record, I feel like low key he did deserve that. Now, don't get it twisted. That police officer deserves to get the death penalty or life in prison, definitely. Um, but based on his criminal record, he deserved it. He was. I'm pretty sure he was terrorizing a lot of people. But again, it's like it's always an excuse that can be scraped up for black men for some reason. It's like some reason it's just folks are just so hesitant to hold black men accountable, you know, across the board. And if you do come through and try to hold black men accountable, especially if you're a black woman, you're going to get pushback. Folks are going to come for you. Folks are going to villainize you. And this also goes into the whole pro-black movement and pro-black agenda. And I'll just say, the pro-black movement agenda, whatever y'all calling it, is not here for black women. I hope you know that at this point by now. It's not here for black women. And I'm hearing talk about abolishing the police. Okay. Who are we abolishing the police for when black folks say that? Black men, black women, both? I think primarily we're speaking about abolishing the police for the sake of black men. Primarily. Don't get it twisted. That's what it's about. Yeah, they'll kind of try and bring in black women for the support, right? For the advocacy, right? To push it, because a lot of black women, coming through and pushing it and, marching and twerking on the front lines, trying to get the police abolished in their communities, right? You know, And to be fair, maybe I just don't understand the concept of abolish the police because, you know, I'm like, okay, what is going to replace it, right? What is the alternative to it? Um, but either way it goes, I'm not quite sure if abolishing the police at this point would be the best idea to go with. But a lot of folks, not I'll say a segment of people are pushing for that though. Um, and also, I think that some people, well, at this point it's pretty obvious, but many of people feel comfortable with trying black women, with coming to black women in like a malicious way, a violent way, a verbally aggressive way, just all kinds of BS, right? And if folks are coming to you with all kinds of BS, then of course you're probably going to be angry, you know, So perhaps that may be part of where the angry black woman, you know, stereotype or angry black woman energy is coming from. Folks just approaching her in a negative way so many times, right? To the point where it's like, okay, you gotta make sure that you protect it because you can't be out here getting got left and right, especially when there's no protection, no one to lean on. Can't lean on black men. Some black women even want to be like, oh, well, you deserved it. Then, folks talking about abolishing the police, right? So, yeah, so there is somewhat of a comfortability, if that's a word, and I think just people dealing with black women in like a bad way. Like folks, like, oh, they feel like they can get away with it. And then sometimes people try to just justify it, like some way or another, too. Like somehow, some way, oh, she deserved it, or oh, she asked for it. When it comes to violence against black women, it played out with the Megan Thee Stallion situation. It was like somehow, some way, Megan must have brought it on herself. You know, she was yelling at Tory Lanez. She was cussing him out. Okay, that doesn't mean that she deserves to be shot. you know, like, oh, she hit Tory Lanez. Oh no, and I can understand, feeling some type of way about someone putting their hands on you. But again, Tory Lanez is a man. I'm sure if that situation happened, he could handle Megan Thee Stallion. But Megan Thee Stallion is, I guess, a bit more bigger. I guess I don't know, but still, I just don't feel like that would justify the situation. As far as like Megan Thee Stallion allegedly getting shot, right? If folks can't justify the violence against black women, who's a particular black woman who's a victim of violence, then they just stay quiet. You notice that they don't speak about it. They just stay quiet. You know, why is that? Like, oh no, like all of a sudden you can't find them. They got 1,001 videos every time a black woman messes up, right? But you can't find them to come through this time for some reason. You know. So I think I've said all I have to say for the moment. Hopefully that woman can get justice. Hopefully those guys can be put away in jail for a long time. Um, and again, like based on the injuries that she sustained, it looks like she was attacked by like a wild animal, actually, like, versus a human. Like those injuries are like something that like a wild rabid dog would do or something. I'm like, what is wrong with these men? And that's a question that's not being asked either. Like, what's wrong with those men? Why did those men do that? You know, is that how you handle rejection? You know? And one more thing, this isn't directly connected, but it kind of ultimately circles back though. Like earlier today, someone came to my YouTube channel and posted under the video that I did about um, the black woman married to one of the Proud Boys, particularly one of the Caucasian Proud Boys. And some guy posted under the video, and he took issues with the video that I made about it. Because I guess I wasn't condemning the woman enough, you know, and also bringing up other situations that needed to be addressed as well, etc. Right? So he posted under this video, he posted the following. Let's see. These, of course, double standards. You focus more on slandering black men more than talking about this black woman who is married to a proud boy. LOL. So biased. Right? I'm assuming this is a black man. I don't know. And Nye responded, let's be logical. The president of the organization is a black man. That's more significant than a random black woman married to a member of the organization. He responded to me, the story is about the woman, not the president of the organization. It's clear what you are doing. Blame black men and never critical of black women. Usual. And at that point, I just decided not to respond. At this point, I'm just like, this person does not have logic or does not want to use logic and use reason. And you cannot have conversations with people who don't want to be logical and reasonable and who don't want to at least try to have some fairness and some balance, right? And also people who are just extremely biased, you know. But yeah, that's all I got to say for the moment. Thank you very much for watching. Please feel free to let me know what you think about this in the comments section. Until the next video, adios and goodbye for now.